welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back to our channel.
It's good to be back and I'm uploading a bit more regularly.
I know, and doing a sit down.
I know, look at us sitting down.
I haven't done a sit down in so long. I mean, my sit down positions are getting more and more like I will probably just creep back as the video goes on and just
get another cushion. You know what we're missing here though? Birth plan mukbang. Like, when was the last time we did a sit down that wasn't a mukbang?
Why didn't we do that?
Why didn't we do that? We could have been here eating our slim chickens, mac and cheese, yeah, while doing our birth plan. I think we've really missed a trick with this one, guys. Anyway, this is for you guys who comment on the mukbang saying, could you please do some videos not eating because you struggle to watch us eat. So this is for you. We did this on purpose. We didn't. We just forgot. We just didn't think.
We just didn't think.
We messed up.
We just got too much to say in this video. I don't want this mukbang to
your
slow
mac
me
and cheese
down.
will literally be falling out of your mouth because you'd be talking so much.
Exactly.
You're like, what's going on?
Okay, so
where are we in now?
we're gonna
35.
Week 35. Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Um.
Gotta give us an update.
Big bellied.
Yeah.
Lots of movement. If you missed our last video, she's engaged.
Yes.
Baby girl is engaged to
Our
be
last
wed.
video wasn't pregnancy specific, so if you're someone who's just watching our pregnancy videos, you wouldn't know this.
Yes, she's engaged into my pelvis, which feels very pelvisy. I can feel her wobbling down there, especially when she's doing lots of kicks on the side because her feet are up here.
I've managed to have a feel. I've managed to feel her head.
You felt the head.
He was like, don't worry, you're not going to squish baby. And I was like, oh, but I'm pretty strong. Could squish baby.
Have you seen these?
Have you seen how I've been to the gym in 6 months? But oh.
Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like they
was
really
cool.
dig down into your pelvis and they can bob between the baby's head, and that's how they tell if it's down there or not. Yeah, so she's engaged pretty early, and when she moves her feet quite a lot or rattles around, obviously her head moves in my pelvis, so I do get some weird pelvis pain. And it's not really pain, it's just kind of like, I quite like it.
Yeah.
It's quite like, it is actually quite painful, but I'm quite like addicted to feeling it. Which I wonder if that'll be like birth. It won't, guys. You're going to laugh at me so much in this video because obviously I've never had a baby before and I'm going to be there like, I can't wait for birth. And you're going to be like, okay, just wait. But I keep thinking that's what I'm going to be like in birth. Like, it's painful, but because I know she's engaged and her head's down there and it's rattling, I'm like, but it's good pain and I want to feel it because I want to feel her like down there.
It's funny to kind of imagine this poor baby in your uterus. I always say stomach, but obviously your stomach is a completely different organ. Just there in your tummy, you know, her head stuck and her legs and arms just kind of like flailing. Could you imagine if you could like remember what it was like to be in your mum's womb, which would just be weird. But then like, you know, you're just stuck. You're like, I'm stuck, gosh. Literally, I don't know how I got in this position.
Jammed head and just arms and legs waving. That is literally what position she's in.
Like you get your head stuck in the sand.
Oh yeah, that always happens. Literally always happens to me.
I'm always doing headstands and my head just somehow
sinks in the sand.
Like, oh.
Literally happened to me yesterday.
Okay, battery change. So today we are running through, I'm doing a lot of talking at the start because I'll probably be quiet for most of the video.
No you won't. Because you helped.
You won't.
Because you were really helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Explain what we're doing. Go on.
So yeah, we're going to go through our birth plan. So to start this, I would like to ask, Carys didn't want to ask, but I would like to ask in the nicest possible way, that people are kind in the comments. We know that everyone has a completely different opinion on what they view as the best birth plan and the best birth plan for them. But we have done lots of research, we've gone on courses, we've talked to 2 or 3 midwives as well as our parents, as well as other people who have given birth. And this is what we believe is what we want to do and how, well, Carys and how we want to do it. And even though a lot of you guys might disagree and might think that it's not the safest way or it's not the way that you would do it or it's not the most relaxing way, kind of this is what we've decided, and you're more than welcome to leave your comments and leave your opinions, but just nice. You know, nice and nice.
Nice.
Nice and nice.
Nicely.
You know, maybe things like, have you thought of this, rather than you're trying to kill your baby.
That. Right, yeah.
You know, that kind of word.
Vibe. Yeah. Because people do, and I think it is hard because it's such a topic that people feel passionate about.
Well, so many women have given birth, and everyone has a different birth story.
And like you might know people that have obviously like almost everyone knows someone that's given birth, their mum or their parents. It just, and I think it can come from a place of kindness, but it can come out in the wrong way, and it can be quite damaging for someone that is close to giving birth. And we have, and everybody says, everyone knows, at the end of the day, whatever birth plan the parents choose is the right birth plan for them, because it literally has to come from us. We're the ones doing it, and so it has to come from what we're looking forward to, what we feel comfortable with, and that's the same for you guys, for everyone that ever comes up with their own birth plan.
Like, you can plan an epidural, you can plan a C-section, or you can plan a home birth with no drugs whatsoever. Like, but whatever you plan is because it's right for you.
Yeah, and also, on that point, obviously this is a plan. I mean, the title of this is actually birth preferences. It is not something that we are rigid in. We've covered like loads of different bases in the birth preferences. This is just creating a vision, creating preferences for which birth we would like. I know I've said this so many times before, I am extremely open, I am extremely flexible to so many different things. If I come up, plan one thing, and then as soon as I get my first contraction, I want to change it all, and it's totally fine, and we will just go with the flow. So when we read it out, I'm nervous that it's going to come across like, this is what we're doing, and this is this, and this is that. It's not, although it might sound like we're fixated on something, I just want everyone to know that I am actually really, and we are really open.
It's almost a way as well of, we're not big believers of manifestation, but what we are believers in is kind of positive thinking and kind of visioning what you want to be prepared for it. So I think when we think about the birth, you know, we vision this best case scenario, but then we do also vision off this best case scenario. What happens if you have to be, you know, if you have to be rushed to a labour ward? What happens if this? What happens if you are in, you know, discomfort and want the epidural? Like, we do vision these, you know, other scenarios, and you vision them so that you feel comfortable if they happen.
Yeah, so they're not like...
So we are very comfortable if things don't quite go to plan, go to our birth plan, and like other things do happen. But yes.
But it's a good start to visualise what you'd like.
You want. So this isn't us being naive, this is us thinking this is our preference, however, we are prepared.
Yeah.
Because anything in the nicest possible way can often happen in birth.
Definitely. And that's
the
same
that doesn't
with
mean we shouldn't be
birth.
positive and think that you can have a great birth. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's the thing. I got to a point where I was like, every time I was explaining something to someone, I was justifying it. So being like, oh, but I know that I might not be able to do this. Oh, but I know. And it's like, James is very much good at just like, yes, we know that we'll cover that if we need to, but what is the point in going into it in a negative way? There just isn't, is there?
No. As long as you're prepared, that thing
can change.
You know that, oh, if we have to be rushed in, I have my hospital bag ready, I have this ready, I'm prepared.
Almost no one sticks to their birth preferences and plans, so we do know that, and we definitely have that in the back of our mind.
It would be interesting to react to this video.
It will.
And be like, actually, did we get anywhere near our birth preferences?
Yeah, because it's so unknown. I just do not know what is coming. I do not know what a contraction feels like. I do not know how comfortable. I don't know anything, and I just find it so exciting, but so scary at the same time because it's so unknown.
I think that's going to be the thing with you. When you're obviously meant to stay as calm as possible, so that you know kind of birth can happen, and you're going to be more excited. You're going to be like, oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, after like 4 hours, I think that excitement will go, and I'll be like,
get out.
I can't wait anymore. Get out. I thought we'd just cover a bit of what we did before coming up with the birth plan. So what we kind of have done pre-birth. So we did the positive, so I've obviously read hypnobirthing books, and I've been really invested in like reading up on hypnobirthing and doing loads of stuff like that, as I've spoken about before. We also then did the Positive Birth Company
we did that together,
hypnobirthing course together, which was amazing, which I know we've spoken about as well before. And that gave us a real insight into what was coming with birth, the science behind it, decisions we need to make together, how we can work together on the day to be the best team and do that in the best way. And yeah, so that's kind of the ways that we prepared for coming up with a birth plan even in the first place. So I just wanted to cover those two things. Yeah. So our birth preferences, I should start saying birth preferences, not birth plan. Everyone calls it a birth plan. So
I think the idea of this, isn't it, is so that so you can give it to the midwife who's looking after you. Yeah. So you write down your birth preferences so that you don't have to explain every small detail of what you would like to the midwife who's looking after you, and that's whether you're having a home birth or a midwife-led ward birth or
yes, that's correct.
So yes, just to let you know, like there is a reason it's written down and not just kind of
in your head
what you want.
Yeah, exactly, because you're probably going to be quite busy once it started. And you don't want to reel off your birth preferences to the midwives. So we've put our first birthplace of choice would be home. Yeah. We've spoken to you guys and we've discussed about having a home birth like quite a lot throughout this pregnancy, haven't we?
Yeah.
and we have come to the conclusion that we would like to have that as like our preferable birthing place.
Yes.
Like we said, whether that means we start at home, I have one contraction and I go straight into hospital, that is also fine. But this is our sort of preference would be to have the birth at home, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I know like lots of people would be too anxious to give birth at home because, you know, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, I know we do get comments being like, oh, I'd be too anxious to give birth at home. I'd want to be kind of near to doctors and stuff. But, you know, when you give birth at home, I don't know whether we were going to cover this feature, but they send out 2 highly qualified midwives to look after you throughout the whole process. And if they don't have the 2 midwives available, then you do go to hospital.
I think one of the things that made me feel comfortable about giving birth at home was the encouragement from the midwives. I obviously don't know if this is the same in every area, but in our area they did say there are a lot more home births than in some areas. So it's clearly like a common thing. They have a really good team that are clearly passionate and enjoy home birthing. And
they have a team that kind of specialise in home births and have done plenty of them, and they have been midwives for, you know, for a while. They're not kind of new to the scene, so they're very, very experienced, and midwives can do like nearly everything to do with your birth, and that could go wrong. Yeah, and so the thing that really encouraged me was the midwives are the ones encouraging it. Yet, if they thought that it was a bad idea and they thought that it wasn't going to be, you know, a good option to try, they would not be doing it. Like, the last thing a midwife wants is for a birth to go wrong at home. That is literally their worst nightmare. So if they're the ones saying, you know, I recommend, it's so good, give it a go, and they're also very open, you know, you can go into hospital, you can do this, you can do that. They're so encouraging of it, it makes you think, well, yeah, if things were so likely to go wrong and so likely to be awful at home, I don't think they would be encouraging people to try having a home birth. No human, yet alone a midwife, would want on their conscience, like, oh, I should have sent them to hospital earlier. Like, when you have a home birth, the second they think that something could potentially go wrong, they send you to hospital, and they also say that they know when it's not quite going to plan. So it's not like you need to go to hospital now and rush. It's kind of like, oh, it's not quite going to plan, probably within the next hour. If it doesn't change, we'll have to go to hospital. Yeah. It's rare that it's this kind of like emergency. And if you're in hospital and you have that emergency situation, it's likely that the midwives knew it was coming, but it's pointless kind of worrying you with it until it gets to the point that you need a C-section, if that makes sense. Yeah, and yes, exactly. I feel like we're like advocating for this, but we're not. We really don't like. We don't know what it's like. And midwife-led units look lovely, like, you know. And some people just would prefer to be in hospital, so it's literally down to everyone. I think you have to go with whatever's going to make you the least anxious and the most comfortable. And I think if I was the one giving birth rather than you, I would probably be in hospital. Yeah, I feel like I think that would make me less anxious. Yeah, I think. But that's just the type of character I am. So it's everyone to their own. Exactly. That literally sums everyone up. Yeah, everyone's different. Our preferences for the home birth are water birth. Come up here, baby. You're gonna move. Hello. You're gonna go on your little seat back there. You're gonna sit back there, are you? She loves it back there. There we go. So yeah, we've ordered our birth. We've ordered our birth pool, and I would really like to have the birth pool available for labour, for birth. Again, I don't know how I'm going to find the pool, whether I'm going to like it, whether I'm going to want to give birth in it. I don't know. We don't know. Come on down. But I want to have that option of the birth pool available. You're stuck on our birth plan. Pop it down. There we go. There, you want to come right in between us. Okay, there we go. So yes, I want to have the birthing pool available. So we've ordered one of them. It's pretty big. We're hoping it's going to sit in this room. By the kind of back door, like if you've seen our lounge, kind of like literally this area. We will have to rearrange the sofa, move it down a bit. It's obviously a modular sofa, so we can shape it in whatever way fits with the birth pool. But yeah, this lounge is actually going to be the place where I would really like to labour and birth and everything like that, just because I find it such a calming space. All the colours in here are like super neutral. Mila loves it. She's just like straight asleep as soon as she gets in here. And I'd love to have like dimmed lighting, my fairy lights on, my electric candles lit, and just create a very calm, dimmed, quiet space in here with the pool set up. And that's how I sort of vision the space being. Yeah. Did you want to? Not really. You can rent birth pools. We looked into renting them. There wasn't a massive price difference from what we found between renting and buying. And so we thought that we would just go ahead and buy one. If obviously we get on with it really well, it can just be stored in the attic then for a future, hopefully a future birth. Or if not, then, you know, we've got a birth pool we can gift to someone, which is quite nice.
So the next thing we covered was monitoring. Originally I was like, I won't go into detail of all these things, but I think it's good to cover briefly each thing, just in case you haven't written your birth plan yet, and I wouldn't know what sort of things to put in there. So it's quite good to get ideas on the sorts of things that you can put in a birth plan and what you can actually ask for and what you can't ask for. Obviously we don't know everything. This is just kind of our take from the courses we've done and everything. They check the baby's heartbeat, and they do internal examinations and stuff like that. So you can just put something really simple, which is what we've put, that we would like to be left alone together as much as possible, just so we can do our own sort of hypnobirthing practices. James can do his readings to me, and
you can listen to music without being judged for how bad it is, you know, get a bit of Cotton Eye Joe on, that kind of thing, watch terrible TV shows.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of just chill together on our own as much as possible. But as soon as they need to come in for anything necessary, like monitoring or anything like that, they don't need to ask us, they just need to they can monitor as soon as they need to. They don't need to ask, because we'll know every time they're doing it that it's necessary.
But also I think things like that is, even if having a home birth, you might feel comfortable your midwife sitting in the same room as you.
Absolutely, that's
what I was saying. So if that's what you want, and maybe on the day,
we will.
You'll be like, actually, feel free to stay in the room, because it's quite nice having you around. You know, it's comforting having someone other than me talking to Carys and keeping her calm and stuff. So I think, yes, you can have your birth preferences, but, you might get on, like a house on fire with your midwife, and you might be like, you're great, you calm me down so much, please stay.
Stay in the room with me,
exactly. So,
teach us some techniques of back rubbing, or, again, it's so hard to know, because it's going to change.
It's really hard to know what you were going to want.
Yeah, so you're kind of just writing what you feel, maybe. Anyway, so I would also really love to remain mobile. So if they are having to do any continuous monitoring on me, you can ask for things like wireless monitoring, or just let them know in the birth plan that if there is a way that you could stay mobile whilst being monitored, that would be awesome. Just so you can get into comfortable positions for you and move around, and they may automatically do something, because that's just maybe the norm, that might restrict you a little bit from movement. But if you have in your birth plan that you'd really like to stay mobile and keep moving as much as you can in labour, then that just lets them know.
I guess it'll just be like they come in every quarter of an hour, kind of inactive, they check the heartbeat of the baby. So I guess it'll just mean they come in, they kind of, check it, and then they take the equipment off. But maybe if if you tell them, actually, I'm just going to be in the pool the entire time, they could leave us strapped on, which that would then mean that it's less...
Maybe that's true, yeah.
Kind of time they're spending with you, but then you're not so mobile. It's that kind
of... And at the end of the day, the plan says, whenever possible, I'd like to remain active. If they decide I need to lie down and have continuous monitoring for 5 minutes and stay still, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know better than the midwives.
No.
But we know what we want to stay as calm as possible.
Yeah,
so it's that balance. Yeah, exactly.
So that's it really for the environment. It's kind of just very calm, very relaxed, very dimmed, together, wearing my own clothes, having my own snacks, things like that. Just trying to keep it as...
Put music on, the sound bar, and the nice thing is, being in the lounge is the kitchen's kind of the other side of the house, which is potentially where, the midwives could be when they're not in here monitoring. And there's other rooms. I guess the good thing about not having a big open plan house is there's other rooms downstairs where the midwives can set up kind of their stuff if things go wrong.
Yeah.
Have the gas and air ready if that's whatever will come on in the future.
Yes.
In a minute. So
yes,
it's nice. I can go out to and get snacks from the kitchen, and Carys can stay in here nice and calm without hearing me catching around, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what's quite nice about it.
So pain relief is one of the big ones, obviously. So I've put for pain relief. Pain relief is such an unknown one.
It is.
And again, obviously, I know I'm saying this with everything, but we keep our options open. If I have my first contraction and I say, look, I want to go in hospital and have an epidural, that's what I'm going to do. I am not holding anything high, I'm not sort of expecting anything. And I'm not going to be annoyed if I don't stick to or do anything.
You don't expect it, you plan for it.
Might as well
and you
just
kind
plan
of,
for it.
You positively think of it.
Yeah.
You positively think, I'm going to deal with the surges, which is what we're calling contractions, well. I'm going to deal with the surges well, and if I need a bit of gas and air, great. but I'm going to deal with them, great. But then, yeah, if at the time you don't deal with them that well, or they're a bit more, powerful, then
It's not even dealing with them well. Yeah, it's like because they are just unknown.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to feel like, so
yeah.
I just don't know. And
everyone's going to have different powers of surges, and everyone's going to whatever. It's all different.
Very
it's
unknown,
all different.
Which is why we will report back once I've had a contraction.
Which is why I don't like lines like, every woman can give birth naturally.
Yeah.
I don't like lines like that because you don't know how other women feel during birth, and you don't know what they go through and how it works for them. So I don't like lines like that. Every woman is different. And as humans, we are evolved and we are 100%. Unique.
Exactly, and that's why you just have to go with the flow on the day. So yeah, I've just put in here, just basically saying, I don't want to be offered pain relief necessarily. I would quite like to just request it when necessary. I know I've heard a lot of stories of people going into hospital and midwives saying, have the epidural, have it now. And I know it's difficult because obviously they do know best, and they do probably not they do know best, but they do know a lot and they have a lot of experience, and they do know that what they're recommending to you will help you be more comfortable. But it's really hard to say no if someone is asking you over and over again if you want to have something. So anyway, I just put in, I will request if wanted, because I know that if I want it, I will ask for it, and I won't be, I'm not going to force myself to pass out from being, not wanting to have it. I will have it if I need.
Because again, we've done research on kind of the pain relief that is available, and you feel confident that you know it and you will request it.
Yeah,
so like
definitely.
At the house at a home birth, they will have gas and air readily available. There is also another drug you can get from the GP, which we have chosen not to get. I say we, Carys has chosen not. No, I know, but has chosen not to get. You did research into this, I don't really understand it. It's like an in-between.
My midwife went over it with me, Okay. So the only one that you or we are going to have available at the home birth is going to be gas and air. We're also going to get a TENS machine, which I've heard really good things about, which sort of you strap onto your back, and it kind of sends waves or something through your back, and it's almost like distraction mechanism. It sends pulses and sort of distracts your mind. Yeah, it is really, I think.
Massage.
Yeah, it is like a little massage.
I could just do this. That'd be cheaper, wouldn't it? It'd be cheaper than it.
You might get a bit achy after 6 hours of doing that.
Yeah, I would actually.
So yeah, we've got a TENS machine and the gas and air, and I chose not to get the thing from the GP because I thought if I wanted anything stronger than gas and air, then I would have already chosen to go into hospital to have all those other options available to me. Yeah, obviously we're going to try our hypnobirthing. We're going to try And also I said, we've said here, if the midwives would like to suggest an alternative, so either going into hospital or I don't know, they may have alternatives, I don't know, anything like that, if they could suggest it to James first. It sounds so picky, and I know that people are probably going to comment on this video like, oh my god, just have a contraction and give birth kind of thing, like every woman do it every day, stop making such a big deal. I can vision those comments already, but I think it's just so exciting and so unknown that we enjoy planning it and we enjoy doing every little nitty gritty bit.
But it's often, I think, like when we talk to other people,
it's advice you get from other people.
It's advice, and they do. People who kind of maybe didn't do any planning for their birth do go, oh, I wish I had planned a bit better.
Yeah.
Kind of go, because it's just so good not to go into it unknown and not to go into it not knowing what you want, because you can then become a bit overwhelmed, and if someone suggests something you will go, yep.
Yeah, because also I know my personality, and I know that if somebody comes to me and says, oh, do you want to try this? I will just say yes, because that's my personality. I'm a yes woman. I never say, no. I'm not good at thinking about things and almost thinking, what do I want? I just take whatever's sort of suggested to me. Whereas I know that you will process the information and you will relay it to me and think, what do you want? Think about this now.
Yeah.
Would you like to do this? Would you like to transfer to hospital? Would you like to? And I will be much more capable of saying my true and honest thoughts to you than I will to someone else. So although that seems like a picky thing, like please talk to my husband before talking to me, it allows me to say my true
I guess if a midwife said to me, I think it might be wise to start thinking about going to hospital to have the epidural, I could then be like, why is that? What's the conclusion? And then depending on the reason, I could then, talk to, I would never make the decision myself, but it's just that then I could talk to Carys and be like, they're suggesting an epidural for these reasons. you know, the midwife could say, oh, because it looks like she's in a lot of pain, but you might go, I actually feel okay, I'm just vocalising a lot.
Yeah, maybe.
That's another thing. Some women in pain probably vocalise quite a lot and do a lot of screaming and stuff.
Or some might
but
just...
other women might not vocalise that much, but actually be in a lot of pain anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you're someone who vocalises a lot, but actually feel okay inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I guess that's the reason for that. And you're more likely to have a discussion about whether you want to go in rather than just be like yes or no.
Yeah, but again, if the midwife was like, you need to go in.
Oh yeah, if you need
we're
to
going to go in. Absolutely.
I guess it's more if they're like, you know, oh, do you want some more pain relief? We can go to hospital
100%.
and have an epidural.
Suggestive alternatives.
Yes.
That are like much more minor. Positions for labour and birth. So this is something we learned on the hypnobirthing course, which is something probably that I found the most interesting and most sort of different from if I hadn't done the course to if I had done the course.
Yes.
If I hadn't done the course, I honestly thought just the best way and, you know, the most efficient way to give birth was on your back with your legs up, because that's what's in every movie and that's what so many people, it's just like the normal way, I feel, to give birth.
Because how, on a movie or TV show, can you be on all fours with your bum in the air and a baby not bum in the air, bum slightly lower than your hips, and a baby coming out while having a conversation with the dad-to-be and the doctor, and it's so
it's
banterous.
Not good for a movie.
Ha ha ha! Look at us having banter when the baby's coming out.
I know, that's such a movie thing.
It just doesn't happen. You know? If you're having banter when the baby's coming out, you know, you're having a fantastic
birth
on your back.
So yeah, that was what I thought was like a really good position, but it's actually one of the worst positions. Yeah. It's just that that's kind of like what
it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, but it's also like, it's kind of, I don't know, that's just the position that works quite well in hospital when...
Well, yeah, there's two reasons, isn't it? So one, obviously, on movies, it looks good. Like I said, you can have a conversation.
It's not just movies though, like a lot of people give birth.
And then the other reason is because you're exhausted.
Yes.
So often, if you are exhausted, particularly potentially after you've had the epidural, you naturally think, I'm just so tired now, I am on my back.
And also,
that's fine.
If you don't feel like all the positions that are upright, forward and open, UFO, which is this kind of like best for giving birth, which is like all fours or like leaning over something, sort of sitting upright, leaning over the birth pool. They're not necessarily the sort of most positions that you may feel comfortable in, half naked, on all fours, or half naked, leaning over the birth pool. They're not necessarily going to be right, and I might get into them on the day and think, no, I'm going back down into this position here, this is where I feel good, this is where I feel comfortable. Yeah, exactly. And then that is the most efficient position for you to give birth in. If you're on all fours, but you're tense as heck, because you don't actually want to be on all fours.
I didn't even think of that, but that's a really good point. If your heart's beating fast and you're anxious because you feel very exposed in that position and you don't like it,
that's not right for you.
You need to go back to a place where you feel calmer.
Get back on your back, girl, get those legs up.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
100% true. But
I was like, why wouldn't you go UFO?
Because
that's amazing,
if you feel awful,
if you do feel, and obviously, and UFO positions are often more tired to stay in.
Yeah.
So if you do have a longer labour, you're quite tired come the end of that, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. So exactly, I kept saying that to James, like, if I do go into something not UFO towards the end, I know that I've just chosen to do that because it's the right position for me. Even if it's like the most inefficient for giving
most
birth,
likely to rip.
Whatever. Don't even know if that's true.
I'm not sure. I think it's just that UFO gravity's on your side.
That's it.
So
that's
it's meant
all
to
it
be
is.
slightly better and easier.
Like speeding it up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll report back.
Anyway, I'll just be chanting UFO during the birth.
UFO.
UFO.
Yeah, birth pool. We've covered that already, haven't we?
Yes.
I would I envision giving birth in the pool, but I might hop out. Not be right for me.
I think that's the thing that is potentially, as long as we can have a home birth, is the most unpredictable. Is, are you going to actually want to give birth and be in the birth pool, or are you going to think, I hate being wet?
After getting this pool, filling it up, all this trouble, and then I'm going to get in it and go, no, it's not for me.
Not a fan of this water.
But that doesn't matter, as long as we've got our options available. And yeah, with the coming out of the pool, we will have set up either the sofa, I know we've got a freaking white sofa, but you can buy like massive plastic liners and then you layer on top with different things. There is so much equipment out there for giving.
Sheets and
there's so much sort of, you watch a YouTube video on home birth and people say it's not as messy as you think it is. As long as things are covered appropriately, you can sort of give birth there. So I would potentially have... Yeah, pull the rug
Yeah,
up.
it's a shame because obviously it adds a lot of warmth as well.
No, leave the rug, and then I said about
Just
putting
cover over
something, whatever people
Yeah.
use, maxi pads or whatever big pads you can get. Puppy pads, actually, someone said, because
Okay,
they're like
that's
massive
better.
squares that you stick down
Yeah.
on things. Cover things up, just so I've got the option to
Yeah.
flop out the pool onto the floor, flop out the pool
Yeah.
onto here. And yeah, as long as you prepare appropriately with all the right sort of things, it shouldn't be too bad.
That's the good thing, is it? When we lay this out in a square, it's like a double bed size, so you can basically
yeah.
buy a cheap plastic mattress protector and then put a sheet over that, and then you're fine. You're going to protect the sofa.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's not you know, potentially not that messy. I think it's messy for a part of it, and that's it, kind of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Lots of people who've had home births say it's not as messy as you think it is. So hopefully that's true. Second stage. So the second stage of labour is pushing. Oh yeah. So this is quite interesting. So about coached pushing. So again, this is probably something that I learned in hypnobirthing that is like one of the biggest differences from what I thought about birth before. I always thought, again, from the movies, that every single person had to push, 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 and squeeze and push and scream and push. Now, yeah, I'll still do the screaming part, but I would love to not have the coached pushing. Again, there are lots of situations where coached pushing is a necessity, and the midwife, obviously I've put it down here, but it doesn't even matter if I didn't. If you need to coach push, you're going to coach push, the midwife's going to tell you to. But in the hypnobirthing course, they do cover that if you are as relaxed as you can be and you're doing something called down breathing, which
Carys always says, practice on the toilet when you're doing your number two.
when you're doing a
It's
number
actually
two,
quite interesting.
do it, report back to me. You will see the difference in your body by going, all your muscles in your stomach are pushing down without you actually squeezing and pushing.
You've got to imagine that when you breathe out fiercely, you don't breathe forward, but you breathe down. So if you go, you shouldn't really feel the air on your hand, you should feel it go down. It's quite amazing.
It's quite fun
Yeah.
to try. And apparently
you
that's,
feel that open up.
you feel
Even
your
as a guy,
muscles.
you feel it open up a little.
Like it's opening up. The baby's coming. So yeah, I find that really fascinating. I'm really excited to try that if that works for me. Again, that's going to be different for every single person, and it might not go that way. And
You
I might
wonder
need
if
to push.
you'll naturally. I think it's going to be hard to stop yourself
Yeah.
from pushing, but almost rather than saying, you know, oh, push now, it's trying to be like, you know, relax now and open up.
And that's why they do the breathing. So I think
Open
you
up
do
now, not block. It's just like really positive thinking, isn't it? Just open up down there.
Yeah, I
and
know.
then whoop, whoop,
That's the
out.
thing. It all sounds so lovely, and then we're like, I'll be, you know, screaming so much. I want to be able to actually do that in the lovely, routinely way.
Sorry, Mila, we're not going to attention.
So yes, I'd love to use the down breathing without the coach pushing if available. So I put that in, if available. So I put that in there if that's possible, which the midwife will know.
Because obviously
how
it
it's
does
going.
sometimes make the labour a little bit longer, but then it kind of makes you slightly less likely to push, to rip sometimes, because obviously it gives you longer to kind of stretch out.
Yeah, defo. And then the other things I put, obviously, once the baby comes out, I would love immediate skin-on-skin contact on my chest. I've never really got to the bottom of whether this is, I'm pretty sure that's what they usually do.
Unless they have to take the baby for monitoring.
I'm like 99.9% sure they would do that anyway. But I have just put it down here anyway, because that's something really important to me that obviously, unless necessary for the baby to go somewhere else, I would love straight on my chest for at least an hour with James's hand on her back. Obviously you don't have to keep your hand on her back for an hour.
By the end I'm going to be like, my hand's dead, my hand's dead.
And just kind of chill out, skin on skin is so important when baby first comes out. And yeah, just like a calm environment still, candles still lit, chilling with new baby girl. I cannot even begin to imagine that scenario and how it's going to feel. And it feels almost so far away, but also it's so close now.
Yeah, just like actually meeting her and
That's
seeing
crazy.
her and feeling her skin and
What's she going to feel like? Soft,
probably a bit wet and sticky when she comes out.
all the white little gunk they have on them. It's so cute though. So that's obviously all the home stuff, which would be fantastic. Then we've got...
do you want to do cord clamping, which is quite an interesting
Oh yeah,
one.
when did we cover that?
Oh, that's in the golden hour afterwards, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so another interesting thing we learned about was cord clamping. I think...
I didn't put down that I'm going to cut the cord.
Oh yeah!
It's a strange one. Like, don't get me wrong, I will cut the cord, but I'm not viewing this as this is my time.
Essential part,
You know how like some
Yeah.
guys like, yeah, I will cut the cord.
Claude.
I'm like, yeah, I'd like to, I guess, but I'm not really. It's not
It's
going to
more-
bother me if on the day the midwife cuts. I'm not going to.
No.
No, that was my job. That's the one thing I was doing today.
I'd be more excited to actually just like touch the baby and look
They're
at
going to
her.
like cut this. Here's the
Cut the
scissors,
cord.
here's whatever, the clamp. But I was like, I've got my left hand free. I
I'm
can't do
busy
it.
looking at the baby. Yeah, so cord clamping, so obviously they're attached to the inside of you, your placenta, via the umbilical cord. And they get the blood from that. So apparently there's 1/3 of the blood, if you cut the cord straight away, the one third of the baby's blood is still left in my placenta. If you delay cord clamping, it is not unsafe, otherwise they would delay cord clamping.
Like
you
if your
can
baby needs monitoring, especially.
Exactly. This is one of these things which is like, I also won't even be a slightest bit bothered if the midwife cuts it straight away, because it happens so often and is absolutely fine for the baby. But if the baby can have all its blood back, kind of why not? And it just helps them, because they rebuild that blood.
Yeah, it didn't really say. It's interesting, but they didn't really go into detail of why it's beneficial for them to have all the blood. Because I was expecting there to be an investigation, but like it was then said, and they checked 3 years later, and the baby who had early cord cramp still had less blood. But I was like,
but why is it a bad thing?
Where's the negativity?
Yeah.
Like, what's bad about that? So
there wasn't a lot of that, and that's why it's not.
Yeah.
I think that's why people aren't bothered if it gets cut early or whatever, because there isn't a lot of statistics.
It was always cut instantly. You know, like always, and all of our parents.
We're all fine. So, but anyway, we thought, why not? If baby's on my chest anyway, we're chilling out. It's only about 8 minutes, I think, until.
I think she said it was 3 minutes for 80% of the blood to go in, and then anywhere from 8 minutes for all of it. So it's
kind of, why not?
And the time would fly by, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if it was 8 minutes, it'll just be gone like that.
Yeah.
So if we're able to, why not?
And you can tell when all the blood's in, because the umbilical cord goes very soft, apparently, and see-through.
Pulsing.
Almost, and stops pulsing. So yeah.
So yeah, we put that down. Cord clamping.
It's great.
Why not?
Why not?
Now we move on to labour ward. So if we, like we said, possibility, you may go into hospital. So yeah, we've kind of just put our preferences for going into hospital. Mm-hmm. So obviously we are interested in the birth pool. So if there's one available, we'd love to have a birth pool. Again, we'd love to have dimmed lightings. If we've brought our electric candles with us, we'd love to have those lit.
Mad packing the bag.
Get the candles!
Get the rucksack, lob all the candles in.
Get the electric candles, James!
Not without the candles!
And again, similar to at home, we have just put, we only want sort of necessary check-ins. We'd love to keep a relaxed, calm environment. Me and James doing our hypnobirthing together, whether in the hospital or at home, or doing however the birth goes, we're going to do the hypnobirthing bits that feel good for us.
If we are lucky enough to have a private room, some people might not want a private room, because obviously, if you don't have a private room, you're more likely to be heard through curtains and stuff, and there's more likely to be midwives around on the wards. But with the private room, some people often say, oh, could you knock before coming in and stuff like that. And we haven't put that. We said, just come in when you need to.
No need to
probably
knock.
Be less distracting than knocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, and just to talk kind of, chilled and quietly and whatever.
Yeah. And again, I've just put to communicate with James first, just because I will find it better with my anxiety and stuff to communicate to James and make informed decisions with my communication.
It will just kind of slow it all down, because I think it's quite natural when a person of authority asks you something to kind of give a quick reaction. When I think if someone you feel very comfortable with asks you can often think, actually I'll have a minute now to think about it and make my mind up.
Yeah, and you know me so well, you will know if I'm giving the right answer and if I'm.
I would never kind of take the decision.
No, not taking it away, but like you'll know if I'm looking like I feel.
Yes.
Like if I'm like, okay, go on then.
Yeah,
then you're going to be like,
sure?
think about it. Think about it, Carys. Don't do it just for the sake of it. Yeah, just like, and this is the third stage of the assisted delivery. So assisted delivery is like, I don't actually know what that is. I think it's like using forceps, or I think that's assisted delivery. Like they're using things to assist the delivery.
Or like the pump and stuff.
So obviously I've just put, if necessary, if that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done. But obviously I would rather not have one. If that is an option and I could keep going for an hour more, I would probably rather do that. At the time, I probably wouldn't, and I'd probably scream, just get this baby out of me.
I think it's only if the baby's in distress, or
if
they
do it.
You are just so physically exhausted,
exactly.
You kind of need the baby out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you'd rather just take a little bit longer.
Exactly. And that's something you're
Well,
just
that's
gonna...
what we think going into it. But like you said at the time,
Yeah.
you might think, I'll deal with the aftermath.
Get the baby out. Exactly. So we're just going to take that one as it
Because
comes.
they also do the snippity snip, don't they, to stop you from ripping?
Yes, the episiotomy.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, a little snip to stop you sort of ripping uncontrollably. Because that can be a lot more
Because if they're
dangerous.
kind of quite confident that you're going to rip, they often suggest it so that they kind of create the rip almost. So
Quite
that's
clever,
a smaller rip than kind of ripping more.
Yeah. It's really clever. And then the third stage is birthing your placenta. Again, like before we did the hypnobirthing course, I didn't actually know you birthed a placenta after birth, which is so sort of seems so obvious now, but I didn't really know that was a part of birth. Yeah, I would love to birth my placenta just naturally, but again, I've just put, you know, if drugs are needed to birth the placenta because they can give you an injection to help birth it quicker, for whatever reason. Sorry about that, quick toilet break. So yeah, the third, I would like to birth my placenta drug-free if possible. If not, then that's fine.
I was just going to say, they often give you the injection to speed it up if you're bleeding quite a lot and they just want to, you know, get the placenta out so that they can stop that.
Again, whatever the midwife suggests.
Exactly, I think
for
that's
whatever reason.
Not less to think about because it's an important stage, but you know,
you're kind of
you're with
distracted
your baby,
with the
then,
baby.
so you're just massively distracted. And they often say it's amazing that even if you do rip, which happens in what, 80+% of women,
Lots
like a
of-
really high
yeah,
percentage,
high
which is
percentage.
quite amazing. You literally, they kind of sew you up without you even noticing because you're just so distracted and you have so much. What's the word?
Even I've forgotten it.
Menopause.
Oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
They're like happiness
yeah.
hormone.
So much oxytocin from, you know, holding your baby for the first time ever that you kind of just don't feel pain at that point.
Yeah. And then the last section we had was an unplanned cesarean. So if I need to go in for a cesarean, obviously we will again just follow what goes and what flows with that. But I've just put some things that if possible, I would love to still have immediate skin on skin contact. I would love to still have James's hand on her back. I would love to still have delayed cord clamping.
Claude.
Dimmed lighting up at my head end, because apparently that's possible. Like at this end, it could be a bit more dimmed, and that end.
And they say that they put a blanket, you know, like a shield, so that you don't see what is essentially an operation going on. But you can ask at the very end to have it open so that you can see them pull the baby out. Lowered.
You can see the baby coming out of
Which
the tummy and be
amazing.
born.
Like I couldn't. Have any of you guys kind of seen that? Because I think there's one thing seeing a baby being born, but seeing actually kind of pulled out of your baby stomach, like not stomach but uterus.
How crazy is that?
That must be
unreal.
It's unreal to see yourself open in this baby, like
oh my god, I know.
Of life.
And that's the thing, you can still create a special version, even if, you know, that's obviously not in our birth plan. But if it is, then hopefully we will have those little things in there that make it still just as special. And just at the end of the day, the baby's getting brought to you, and that's all that matters. That is all that matters, that your baby gets put in your arms, if she can be.
I do love watching
and is born.
It's like, I know one every minute isn't, you know, particularly realistic because they cut it in a certain way. But it's amazing how, like, they kind of just throw the baby at you.
I know, they're like...
If you think, you know, babies are so delicate, and, like, the baby's born, and they kind of just go...
On your chest!
On your chest, and you're there with this little wriggly thing on your chest, and you're like... Oh!
So strange, isn't it?
So that's it now. You have responsibility of that baby.
There's your baby.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Absolutely crazy. It's honestly mad. Okay, so, and then the last thing we were going to cover, my handy assistant, do you have it for me?
What we were prepping.
So I spoke before about the perineum massage. So again, I know we speak a lot about tearing and stuff. Episiotomy, no.
Yeah.
So the tearing happens on your perineum, so that's like a really common place to tear. So the perineum massage is like a massage that you do down there to stop yourself tearing.
It's meant to soften the muscle in the skin, isn't it?
It's really cool. I read all the science behind it, and you can do like remember we did that weird thing where like it was something like this. You hold your hands together like that. I can't remember what it was. And you then like massage something. I can't remember. Look it up. Do you remember doing it?
Like you kind of stretch your hand back and then you massage.
You massage it. So say like.
And then you can stretch it back further.
And then you put them together. Yeah, and one thumb goes like all the way down and one doesn't. And that goes to show that bringing blood to an area, massaging it, doing all that, it just scientifically allows it to stretch further.
So that was when you do exercise. So if you stretch before going on a run compared to after your run, you are so much more flexible after your run, and you can stretch so much further. And it's that kind of idea that when you send blood to a muscle and it heats up, you can stretch it further.
So
It's just like a trip.
So like there's a lot about perineum massage and you start that from 34 weeks. So I tried that the other day and it was uncomfortable, like in a good way. So it's not meant to be painful. It's meant to be a lot of sort of tingling, a lot of basically down there is not used to stretching and being sort of put under that sort of thing. And so it allows it to get more used to that. So anyway, I tried that once. I spoke to my midwife and she actually told me that there wasn't a lot of like great statistics behind perineum massage. It's kind of one of those things that I was like, well, I kind of find it fun and enjoyable anyway. Like I'm really someone that loves to get to know my body. I'm not like cringed out by things like that. I just find it really fascinating and I love the science behind things and yeah, I don't have an issue with that at all. So it was no problem me trying it myself. But I spoke to her about something I'd seen on a YouTube video called Epino. And I was like, there's this thing called Epino that I've seen a YouTuber do and talk about.
She didn't do it on camera.
She didn't do it on camera, but like, what are the statistics behind that? And she was like, okay, the statistics behind that are actually really good. You do have to buy it. It's not as cheap as having a perineum massage because all you have to buy for the perineum massage is oil.
I think you're going to say it's our fingers.
it's these. You can use olive oil actually. Yeah. You can. So you do have to buy it. It's quite expensive. It's like £99, I think. But the statistics behind it are actually really good. So I was like, okay, let's try this out. Haven't actually tried it yet because you've got to wait till 37 weeks to give it a go. But what it is essentially, at the end of the day, my glamorous assistant, please hold it up for me.
To hold it?
Hold it up. Yes, so I'm sure you can imagine what, it's basically...
Do we need to explain exactly what this does?
Maybe not exactly, but essentially what you're doing is giving yourself a perineum stretch down there. You can blow it up, that's it. And you leave it in there for 10 minutes and then you release a little bit and then you actually just let it come out by itself. Now I know this sounds so weird and so many people might feel creeped out by that or be whatever by that, but when you actually take a step back and think about the seriousness of, like, it is funny and it is jokeable, but at the same time, it also is science and it is created for a purpose to stop yourself ripping, which is a serious thing and can cause a lot of damage. So,
well, it's even though it's fine to rip and you do recover. You know, lots of people rip and you recover if you rip. If you can find a way to statistically decrease your chances of ripping, you will recover quicker.
Yeah.
And why would you not want to recover quicker with a newborn?
So if you're absolutely fine and it doesn't creep you out or it excites you and to try things like that, which it does for me, then why not? Because you are reducing the chances of potentially having something which takes you time to recover from or just creates more of an uncomfortable birth. Again, I'm not going to guarantee that this does not mean that I'm not going to rip, you know? I'm not going into it.
No.
I'm not going to be upset if I rip. I'm honestly not expecting it. But it's something that happens very, very commonly. Mm-hmm. But
if you can take your chance of ripping from 80% to 50%,
why not?
Why would you not, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And if it is something that you're not comfortable doing, then that's absolutely fine, and no one has to do it. No. But I don't think it's okay to put other people off from doing it.
100%.
You're uncomfortable doing it.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Just because you're uncomfortable doing something, it's like just because I'm uncomfortable going onto a nudist beach. Doesn't mean that I'm against people going onto nudist beaches.
Exactly, Boo. You've summed it up there.
Thank you.
You've summed it right up. That's exactly it. Do it if you feel comfortable and don't make anyone else feel uncomfortable for doing it.
There you go.
Sorted. And that's it really. That's the prep, the hypnobirthing, the plan. We've got a couple more weeks, well, 5 more weeks to go.
I know. It's getting so close.
Here, or
it's
more.
Getting so close. Yeah, anywhere from 37 to 42 weeks, we will welcome her into our lives.
We've got the midwives like signing us off for a home birth, because obviously if we were to go into labour tomorrow, we wouldn't have a home birth because it's too early. But anywhere from 36 and a half or 37 weeks, you can have your home birth. So they come, they look around, sign you off.
I'm assuming they come to the house, so she's coming to the house, she can ask us lots of questions, kind of be like, where do you view the home birth happening, and just make sure the house is appropriate for home birth. And then I'm assuming she will make plenty of notes. And the good thing about having a home birth is there is a small chance that we will have the midwife we see on that day, because she is at our local GP's, because she will be part of the team. It just depends who's ever on call, essentially. So it's unlikely we'll have her, but you could. And also, the other thing is Mila. So unfortunately, we can't have Mila with us. I don't know if we 100% can't have her, but I think if you do have her, they have to be in another room, which obviously isn't fair. There is a chance that Carys will be making noises and Mila won't understand, so it's not okay for her to be locked in a bedroom or something.
No.
So she'll be
want
going
her there.
to my parents. They will just come and collect her when active labour starts, so she can go off there with them, and she'll probably stay there for a couple of days then, as we kind of just whenever she'll stay there for however long we want until we decide to introduce her to the baby then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't want her there. She'd be so uncomfortable.
She'll you'll be
so upset,
making noises, and she'll be licking you in the face, and she'll be like, "What's going on?" And she'll start crying, and then she has to be in another room. She'll probably bark the house down. So it's just not ideal.
No, not
for being with us. But plenty of people would love to have her for a couple of days, so it's easy.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. And then we can introduce her.
I know, and then we can be like introducing the baby to a dog. I can't wait for that. I think that's probably one of the things I'm most excited for.
I know, because I just don't know how she's going to react. Like I think
she'll be great. I think she'll be really good.
Yeah, she will. She'll definitely know it's like a tiny little vulnerable thing.
You know when
she's clued up on you can tell when she knows something's vulnerable. Like when we give her an egg, we did that little challenge before. When you give her an egg and she was like, she could tell it was really fragile and put it down.
And whenever we kind of we see a couple of people acting about who follow us, and we stop and talk to them, and they have young kids, and she's just like really kind of gentle with them, and she doesn't go she doesn't nudge them in the face or anything, even though they're her height. She just kind of goes hi.
And maybe just sniffs around them. Yeah, it's really nice to see that.
It is nice to see.
Because we don't have any young children in our extended family that we see or that we've spent time with. Oh my gosh, someone commented on the last video. I can't remember what we were talking about. We were obviously not overthinking this whole parenting thing, but we are completely clueless, and we sort of think everything.
We're not clueless.
No,
but looked into it.
That's why we're doing so much research.
As we can be almost.
Yeah, but I think they were making out that we were overthinking it by doing too much research.
Right.
And they were like, you guys are acting like you've never seen a baby before. I was like,
I never have.
We literally never have.
No.
We never have held a baby or seen one or done anything like that. So we are
we're the first people on both sides of our family, first siblings to have kids.
Yeah.
And none of our good friends have kids.
No.
So yes, we see babies after the fact, but I have never held a child.
No.
Ever. And you have held a child once.
Yeah, literally. And I wouldn't have a clue about so many things. So yeah, we are going to be those people that are like, how'd you put a nappy on? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? And we're just excited to learn all that.
We should buy a doll. We do know how to put a nappy on. We learned, but we haven't yet put a nappy on something.
Yeah.
So maybe we should get a teddy. Yeah.
We've done all our research. We just haven't been able to practice.
Now. Yeah, we should go and buy a doll. If anyone got a doll they could send us, we could practice
that would freak you out. You don't like dolls.
I don't like dolls. No. I know, we're having a daughter. I'm going to try and give her rugby balls and footballs as much as possible.
Yeah, that's what we're going to have. Train tracks, all that.
Yeah, 100%.
The dolls will freak James out.
No, that's what I said from the start. Boy or girl, no dolls. We are doing...
They're having dolls. Me and the baby is going to be playing with dolls.
You can keep them in your room.
Yeah.
You can have that as a playroom. And I'll have this as a playroom with train tracks.
It's like a room full of dolls. James never goes anywhere near. Anyway, we've been speaking for so long. I don't know how long the video was, but I hope it wasn't too boring. I hope we covered everything. And I hope, we just have shared so much with you guys. And I know that it probably seems like we share too much sometimes, but I know that a lot of you either are working towards birth, or moving towards a birth and find it helpful, or nowhere near having kids or giving birth and just find it interesting. Yeah. So I hope.
And I think that's going back to the start. Everyone's birth and birth preferences are going to be different. And I just think, when do you start your midwife appointments with the GPs? 32, 34 weeks?
Something like that.
And I think they are just so lovely and so easy to talk to. So just go into it with a rough idea of what you want, having done your own research, and then just have an open conversation with them.
Yeah.
And they're very, very good. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say what you want, and then but ask questions.
Ask about your options and ask about. That's it. It's just knowing your options and knowing what you can have and what could work for you.
Exactly.
So thank you guys for watching. We love you, and we will see you very soon. So shimmy forward. I'm shimmying forward.
See you soon. What are we doing next? Oh,
see
we're
you
doing
soon.
some more house updates, which is cool.
Oh yeah, we got loads of house updates to show you guys very soon.
Will be far more vloggy than this one, which is obviously quite sit down.
Yes.
So more of a vloggy vlog coming in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Happy to be back. You guys are happy to have us back.
Love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you soon. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.